What's up, guys? Let's talk Lua. Okay, guys, today's topic is local and global variables. But before I get into that, I want to give you some updates. First of all, Pirates Cove has been updated. I now have a flee mechanism so that if your health gets to half of what you had as you went before you entered the battle, then you're able to flee. At least you have the option of fleeing. It's not perfect, but it does give you some sort of control over the battle. I have also adjusted the prices and benefits of the 4 main items at Tortuga. Lastly, guys, I am wanting to shift our focus from strictly learning how to program in Lua to what's next semester's main topic, programming and modding in the game of Minetest. Although there is so much more to know about Lua, and we have barely scratched the surface, we know enough to just kind of mess around in Minetest. And the other concepts that we may need or may want to know for programming in Minetest, we will just have to learn those, and quite frankly, we'll want to learn them if we need to achieve a certain functionality. So in preparation for this, I thought, what would benefit the students the most going into this? Hence, here we are at global and local variables. As you can see in Minetest, I've got a lot of code, right? And at the very top, you can actually see the word local. Now, that is referring to a local variable. But what in the world is a local variable? Well, let's take a second to talk about variables and the names that are accessible, right? So there are many names accessible for variables, and there's really no end. But sometimes there's kind of generic names. For instance, let's say clock. I don't know, and you want to use that name in that variable name in 2 different spots of your script. Well, the problem is if that variable applies to the entire script, if you can access that variable from anywhere in the script, then you cannot assign it 2 different values, if that makes any sense. The other thing is it does, I believe, help with the speed of your program, something that we really don't need to worry about. However, there is, I believe, a benefit to keeping most of your variables local. So, like I kind of tried to explain, local means that you're only able to access a variable within a subsection of your script or even maybe the computer. Let me take you over to this example script that I have. You do not have to type this out. I just want you to pay attention. In this script, we have a function, which is a box in and of itself, and then we also have just some script that gets run. If we run this code, it simply looks like this. We have the program print. No, I'm sorry. We have the this script print after function, which is the first print that we see. Then we have in function, which is correct according to this. There we go. Sorry about that. And then, so we drop down into function. Function does its thing, prints this in function, and then it returns n, which then finds us here, which it prints the results of the function, being 8, and then finally print after call. If you don't understand the line of logic there, take a second, stop the video, and try to make sense of it. If you can't, ask me. But moving right along, let's say that we wanted to call. Well, let's just see. Based on the idea of local and global, we have created a variable here called a, and we have not identified it as a local variable. So the question is, what is it? Is it global or local? Well, the short answer is it is a global variable. Well, what does that mean? That means that you can access it anywhere in your script. And if up here I said, whoops, I don't want to be underneath the return. You said print A, what would happen? And you know what? I'm going to do some fancy stuff here just so that we can clearly see it. And here you have, I don't know if you can really read that, but everything prints out and it says here is a 1. And so it does correctly grab the value of A and then it prints it. So it's able to access the value of A. Big deal, right? Well, it is, but you just got to tuck this away in your little archive in your mind. But let's say that I identify this one as a local variable, and that is how you identify it, as a local variable. What happens? Am I able to access it in the function? And running this script again, that's not exactly what I expected, but it is operating as it should. You see it's talking about concatenating A, it's a nil value, and all this kind of strange stuff. Well, this might clear things up. Give me a second. Okay, so instead of having concatenating and all that stuff, let's just print A all by itself. And when we run this function, we see that we get a different result. After in function, which is right here, we are going to be anticipating or expecting the value of A. And indeed, we see nil. So this means that A is only accessible outside of any containers, that being functions, or I believe even while loops, maybe. So local and global causes variables to be accessible or inaccessible depending on where you are in the script. I'm sorry if that's kind of confusing. It is an important thing for you to know going forward before we get into Minetest modding. So hopefully that helps. You appreciate the value of it. Tuck that away in your little archive, and yeah, that's it, guys. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time.